From your sense, just how has the team kind of responded in these last few days since Game 7? Obviously, a really physical series, physical and draining series. What was y'all's approach since then, and how do you think the players have responded and are ready for what's coming up next?
Yeah, I think to take really 2 whole days to just physically recover. Probably a day and a half of mental, just take a break, get away from it, and do a little film on Monday night and practice today. And, I think the mindset is good. Their approach is good. Get a little bit of time to recover and, just kind of get recharged and ready, for game 1.
You've been to this stage before, giving the team a couple days off after the second round before the third round. Is that something you've done in the past, or was this something you felt you needed to do this time in particular because of how draining that second round series was?
Yeah, I mean, every year is different. Every playoff journey takes on a kind of its own story. So it's just with us finishing on Saturday and game 1 being on Wednesday, just logically made sense. I couldn't tell you 100% what has happened or not happened in past, and you just gotta kind of take each year as it comes. And certainly left a lot in a game 7 that goes overtime, and guys played a ton, and so it was good to get that recovery time.
Eric Name.
Hey, bud. During that net series, we talked a little bit about how that series was strange because you had different rosters and lineups and stuff coming in and out with their injuries. Against the Hawks this year, you played a game that had a different head coach. You played a game that didn't have Trae Young or Clint Capella. You had one that did have him. Like, how are you looking at kind of what you guys did during the regular season as any sort of blueprint for kind of what you expect in this series? Because, I mean, they've even had injuries in the postseason as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's one of those seasons, and I think the description of how the second round went, and then trying to prepare for Atlanta. There's certainly things you can take from the regular season. Each game, depending on who did play or did not play, and you can start to piece it together. But I do think there's an element of both of us are going to learn more about each other, starting with game 1, and you got to kind of, take game 1 and improve from there. You got to be prepared for game 1, but, we'll all know more about each other going into a game 2. And, but it's not that different than any other playoff series.
I don't think this is all that unusual, but it feels like Drew and Brooke are going to have a huge impact on this series defensively, their partnership guarding the pick and roll against Trae Young. Just how big of a role do you feel like discipline will play for you guys in this series to make sure that you are taking something away when he kind of gets in the in-between area where it's floaters or kickouts or lobs or even pull-up threes?
Yeah, I mean, that's what great players do and great teams do. They're multifaceted. It's not just, Young and Capella in the pick and roll, and, it's Herter and Collins, it's Bogdanovich and Capella, it's small. They do a lot of things, at a high level. They're really good. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously Drew and Brooke, they always take a major workload defensively, and their discipline and the entire group's discipline is going to be important, as we start this series.
As you've gotten to know Giannis better over these 3 years and 3 postseasons together, have you come to appreciate how it feels like he figures things out as the series goes on? Like the things that he does in game 1 are going to be different than 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that by the end, he'll really kind of find a nice groove. Have you seen that? And what does that do for you as a team that maybe he can figure some things out as the series goes on?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about, just his IQ, his toughness, he's always wanting to get better, improve. And, so sometimes we see that play out during the course of a playoff series, and he's just always learning and growing and wanting to be better. And so I think it's just, when you kind of approach it that way, it can play out where you're just getting better from the start of a series to the end. And that's, we need him great tomorrow, but then we're probably going to need him better and better and better.
Zora Stevenson.
Hey, Coach, I know Eric asked specifically about Giannis, but the entire team has this emphasis on getting better each day. Is it possible to improve during a playoff series? And if so, like, how have you seen the team make strides during this run?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely, I think both teams, every team is trying to get better from one game to the next. And really win or lose, I guarantee you both coaches, both staffs, both players, you're trying to figure out how to be a little bit better from the first to the second and from one series to the next. And I think the guys, on both ends of the court, I think their attention to detail, their focus has been good. And I'm just trying to get better as we continue to play.
Zach Klein in Atlanta.
Hey, Bud, John Collins is the only current member of the Hawks that was on your squad your final year in Atlanta. What part of his game has improved and impressed you the most over these last few years since you last were coaching him?
I mean, he's grown probably in every way, shape, and form, and he had a great first year. He's a really, he's a very good player. I don't think I would single out anything. Just his overall growth is probably the thing. He's just improved, in kind of pretty much every way imaginable. So, he had a great start and he's continued it.
Darius Joshua.
Coach, I'm sure on one hand, you're happy to turn on the film and not see that you have to prepare for Kevin Durant. But on the other hand, this Hawks team won 3 of their games in the last series on the road. When you're watching them come back with these big comebacks down 25, et cetera, does that kind of help in that emphasis of putting the emphasis on these first 2 games at home with the team like this coming into the series?
I mean, the respect level is very high. The appreciation for what it takes to make it and advance in the playoffs. The talent, the individual talent, the collective talent, they're very, very good. And so, I think the focus and the edge and the mental approach, has to be high level. And that's what we expect going into the first game.
Steve with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Yeah, hey, Mike, another couple Atlanta-centric questions, if you don't mind. When you left here in 2018, could you have honestly imagined that you'd be running into this team in the conference finals just 3 years later?
I mean, this is a crazy league. There's a lot of credit to what, the Hawks have done this year. It's really impressive. I don't really think that much about it. I'm, mostly focused on Milwaukee and what we're doing here, but, it's really impressive and a credit to them. What they've done this season and what they've done this playoffs.
And given all your connections here and being your first head job and everything, is there anything different about meeting this team here, or are they just the next team that's in your way?
Yeah, no, this is about the Bucks and the Hawks, and our players got to be ready to play. Coaches coach, and at this stage, this time, it's just about playing and finding a way to win and compete and doing whatever it takes. That's really all this is about.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
All right, time for one more to Chancellor Johnson.
Hey, Coach, with all the success you guys have had at home so far this postseason, what does it mean to you as a coach to know that, hey, at worst, as long as you guys take care of home court, you guys will go to the NBA Finals?
I mean, you got to win 4 games. We're probably going to have to win a game on the road. We're going to have to win at home. We got to keep our focus on, really game 1, to be honest with you. And I don't think home court and getting ahead of yourself does you any good.